You are listening to the A to Z for Moms podcast. I'm Jody Martin, and thanks for listening. If this is your first time listening or watching the podcast on YouTube, let me give you the rundown of what we discuss each day of the week. So on Mondays, it's Motivational Monday. You kick off the week with inspiration and self-help. Teaching Tuesday, we talk about homeschooling insights and educational guidance. Whip It Wednesday is all about culinary adventures and cooking tips. And Parenting Perspectives on Thursday, get advice, stories, and support for parenting. Food Storage Friday, learn about food storage and preparedness. And Money Magic for Moms on Saturday, discover entrepreneurship and ways to make money from home. So today is Friday, which means Food Storage Friday. Woo woo! Honestly, this is probably my favorite day of the week. Not only because it's Friday, but because I am so passionate about food storage and preparedness. And sorry, I'm dealing with horrible allergies right now, so bear with my nasally voice right now. But if you ever have any questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to email me. The email address is podcast@a2z4moms.com. And you can listen to this podcast on all the major podcast platforms. Search for the show A to Z for Moms. Or you can watch it if you want to see my facial expressions and hand gestures, all that. Or just, watch it on YouTube and while you're doing other stuff. My YouTube channel is A to Z for Moms Like Me. And that's also my TikTok, A to Z for Moms Like Me. And you can view a lot of the information that I discuss on my podcast on my two websites. The first one's a2zformoms.com. And the second one is all food related. It's what88.com. So what, the number 8, ate.com. So it's like what 8 people ate.com. So that website is all, like I said, food related. So food storage, food recipes, canning, things like that. All right, without further ado, let's get into today's show. Today we are going to be talking about ways to budget for food storage. Now, every podcast we go over 4 main talking points. So today our talking points are going to be number 1, setting aside a percentage. Number 2, set amount each month. Number 3, purchasing little by little. And number 4, once a year bulk purchase. So we're going to talk about these ways of budgeting for your food storage. Number 1, setting aside a percentage. So what this means is basically you're going to take your paycheck and just like you would tithing or savings or anything like that, you're going to decide a set percentage, 5%, 10%, 2%, 30%, whatever it ends up being. And every paycheck, you are going to take that money and put it aside for specifically earmarked for food storage. Okay. So, it's exactly just like I said, just like you do savings or tithing, retirement, anything like that you already do. You're just going to set that aside, earmark it, put it in a zip bag, a bank bag, put it in a special account, whatever you need to do that way. I recommend withdrawing the money and keeping it in a bank envelope so that it doesn't get mistaken for other purchases. You can get those bank envelopes if you go to your bank. Some banks give them for free and some banks charge you like $3, but it's just this like leather zipper nice bank envelope. And I recommend pull the money out in cash, have it in there, then you have it on hand for those purchases when you're ready for them. So let's go over some pros and cons of doing it this way. First of all, the cons. So the cons of setting aside a percentage is your set aside amount may not be enough to make a purchase when a sale comes along. So let's just say, I'm just going to do easy numbers. Let's say whatever your percentage is, you're able to put aside $100 a month. Well, if you're doing that, and that's great. I mean, it's going to add up, and over a year you got $1,200. That's awesome. But what if you start in January and in February there's a huge sale, and whatever it is, maybe there's a huge sale on something for your food storage, water storage, or, the rolling shelf racks, or a case lot sale, something like that, that's going to cost $300 or $400. Well, at that point, you've been setting aside this percentage. You only have $100 or $200 set aside. So that's a downside of that, is that even though it will build up over time, it doesn't always align with the sales, with big sales and things like that. So that would be a con to it. Some of the pros of doing it this way is it's very budget friendly. So especially if you're on a fixed income, it's a great way. And if you do the Dave Ramsey program or something, they're all about budgeting down to the penny, right? It's all what a lot of budgeting systems, especially his, is all about. You have every single penny allocated for. So if that's the type of budgeting you do for your family, this is great. Or if you're on a fixed income, a percentage is great because it's always going to be a percentage. Now that percentage, if your income fluctuates with if you're an hourly employee and one paycheck is really big because you had a lot of overtime and one paycheck is normal, it's not gonna, you're paying a percentage, so it's not a flat amount. So your percentage and the amount that you put in your food storage is also going to fluctuate. So it's easy to track, it's consistent, and it's kind of a no-brainer, kind of like I said, like with your tithing and with savings. It's just a no-brainer that, okay, this percentage goes here for food storage. No matter what the total amount is, that percentage is allocated. So that's number one. That is the first way of budgeting for food storage, setting aside a percentage. So let's move on to number two, set amount each month. So what this means with this type of budgeting is you allocate a set amount each month and set that aside. So let's say if it, and this could vary on your income and how much you have available. You might say, okay, $50, $100, $500, whatever it is that fits in your income and with your budget. If you're like, you know what, we can afford to do, say $100 a month, we're going to set that aside. $100 a month is going to be set aside, or even per paycheck, whatever works for you, but it's a set amount. So if you, in doing this one with the example before, if you have a set amount, let's say it's $100 per paycheck. It's $100 per paycheck. Well, if you have a really big paycheck with lots of overtime, you're still setting aside $100. It's your set amount. If you have an average paycheck, you're setting aside $100. So, that way it's consistent and all that, but that way you know how much is built up over time, and the percentage is great, but the percentage could change and vary depending if your paychecks change and vary. If your salary, your paychecks are going to be the same, but if you're an hourly employee, your paychecks are going to vary, and so a percentage and the amount you put in by the percentage could vary, but a set amount is always going to be the same. And so it's kind of easier to plan out that way. The more you're able to allocate towards food storage each month, the faster you're going to build a good supply for your family. So one way to utilize this option that I really recommend, and one thing I like about this set amount each month, is when you do a monthly shipment. Okay, so this, and someone who wants this, if you want it clear cut and just, hey, I'm going to do this every single month, and over time we're going to build up our food storage, this is what I highly recommend. So if you followed any of my books, my websites, my Facebook, anything like that, you'll know I am a huge proponent of freeze-dried foods for food storage. Now, I have my own freeze dryer and I absolutely love it, but I am also a Thrive Life director. Thrive Life is I've been a director and I've been with Thrive Life for about 5 or 6 years now, but for years I tried all these different freeze-dried products. Thrive Life was the best quality. So for me personally, I just figured, you know what, if I'm going to build up my food storage and I want to add freeze-dried food, because freeze-dried is the best to have for your food storage for long term. It has the highest nutritional value, it has the highest shelf life, and it has the best flavor of any food you can put in your food storage. And freeze-dried food, just in general, freeze-dried food is the best. And when I did my research, Thrive had the best quality, and their standards for everything was the highest I had found. And so I just figured, if I'm going to order and do stuff every month, I may as well sign up as a consultant. That way I get a kickback, right? That way I get a percentage back. And it's like one more coupon. It's not a huge percentage, but it's like having a coupon. If you're going to buy something anyway, would you rather buy it at full price or 5, 10, 20% off? Well, that's kind of a no-brainer. I'd rather buy it at a discount than full price, right? So I signed up as a consultant with them about 5, 6 years ago, and over the years, I order every single month. Now, they have a program which I love. I love this program. As a food storage expert, I love this program for people who are wanting to build their food storage. It's a monthly auto-shipment program. Now, with this, you can customize it. You can change up your shipment. You can customize. If you have a plan of what you want for the whole year, your total, you can break it down and you can customize as far out in advance as you want exactly what they will send you each month. You can go in and customize, and you can be like, this month I want this month I want this month I want this, and you know your totals for each month, right? They also have sales. Now, I just shop the sales because I figure I'm gonna get the best for my money. So you buy it on sale, you're never paying full price. That's kind of my theory there. And they always have monthly sales, and you can do that with your auto shipment. You can go in and customize it and just put what's on sale in your cart. The cool thing about the monthly auto shipment is it's given, and so when you are doing the monthly auto shipment, any order over $100 automatically gets free shipping, and I love that. It also, just by having the monthly auto shipment, if you sign up for the auto shipment through a consultant like myself, you get wholesale pricing when you sign up for the monthly auto shipment. So that's like 15% off right there. I know food doesn't have a huge markup, but that's how it is. But still, it's a savings. I would rather pay wholesale prices than retail prices, right? So just by having that monthly shipment, you're saving money on shipping, and you're getting everything at wholesale. So I love their monthly auto shipment program. It's fantastic. Like I said, if you're just starting out, or if you're wanting to build your food storage up. So for me, because of that, and because you get free shipping over $100, I just always figure my monthly budget for food storage is between $100 and $150 a month, because sometimes there's something that I want that it's going to fluctuate in that price range. And in doing that, I get my monthly auto shipment every single month within that range. I put what's on sale, and by buying the sale items, I'm actually getting more for my money, right? So that's what's awesome about that. And if this is something you want to try out the monthly auto shipment, or you want to try some Thrive Life, I highly recommend it. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me either on the social media, on my website, my Facebook group, or you can send me an email through the podcast at podcast@a2zformoms.com. My consultant website for Thrive Life is what88.thrivelife.com. So the same as my food blog, and then the number 8 and then ate.com. So like what 8 people ate. So for Thrive, it's what88.thrivelife, THRIVELIFE.com. And, you can go to either of my website and you can click and link through there. So if you want to do that, go check that out. You can get a free account, and always. So I always tell people, even if you just want to try 1 month, always check out and click the box that say, I want a monthly auto shipment. Even if you log on the next day and cancel future auto shipments, you still get that wholesale pricing for that order that you've checked out with. So always check out with a monthly auto shipment. But I really love the way that they do that. Now, I don't know of any other food storage related companies that do a monthly subscription or auto shipment box like this. there might be some out there. I have not found any. Definitely Thrive, like I said, when I was looking around years ago when I wanted to focus more on freeze-dried foods, and we didn't have money for a freeze dryer at the time, because I knew I wanted to get one of those. Freeze-dried food is the best. But we didn't have money for a freeze dryer because they're thousands of dollars. And so, Thrive Life was the best quality that I had found. And so it's definitely worth trying. And now they have meals. They're always coming out with new products and things. So there's a lot of great sales going on right now. And so it's great. Try it out. See what you think. We use it in our everyday cooking as well as have it in our food storage. So it's awesome. So that's one thing. With a set amount each month, you can do something like that, like have your monthly subscription and your monthly auto-shipment box, and you're doing that. You know exactly what to budget. You have this much coming out each month, and you have this much in food storage that you're adding to your food storage every month. Okay, so again, if you want to set up a monthly auto shipment with Thrive Life, go to what88.thrivelife.com and you can set that up. Okay, so let's talk about pros and cons. So cons would be like if your income or your bills fluctuate, it can be hard to stick to a set amount. So if you have a super large bill or unexpected, especially in the summer when we get the real high power bills, right? They're the worst. If something like that, sometimes it's hard to stick to a certain amount. You're like, okay, $100 a month was easy to do, but now we had this, the car needed 4 new tires, or we had this huge power bill or whatever. And sometimes things like that can throw it off. And sometimes, again, just like setting aside a percentage, if you're doing a certain amount each month, unless you're doing the monthly auto shipment, like I highly recommend, then it may not, if you're just setting it aside, it may not be enough for a large purchase. But, so that, like if something were to go on sale. Some of the pros, it is consistent. It's a set amount. Like if you're doing the subscription box or the auto shipment options, it's great because it's you're consistently building to your food storage. And when you're building on your food storage each month, your expiration dates are going to vary. You're not going to have tons of food that all expires in the same month, right? Because you're adding to it each month, those expiration dates are going to stagger as well. All right, so we talked about setting aside a percentage, set amount for each month. Now let's talk about purchasing little by little. Now this is a fun way. This is a way that anybody can start. So no matter, let's say you don't have the budget to do a certain percentage or a set amount. You're like, hey, our income, we're self-employed. It's feast or famine. We never know what we're going to have. I get that. Been there, done that. So purchasing little by little, this was my preferred way of doing it for a lot of years. This was my preferred way of building food storage. The way it works is every time you go to the grocery store, let's say you need, 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. Buy 4. Buy just 1 or 2 extras of the things that you're already buying that you already need, right? And those extras you just put in your food storage. Now, when you're doing this, you might end up spending $5, $10, $20 more at the grocery store, but chances are when you're already getting groceries, you're not going to notice an extra $5 to $20, especially, oh my gosh, especially with inflation. And that was a wake-up call recently, wasn't it? I don't know if anybody else knows it, but when you're regularly getting groceries and it's typically a certain dollar amount, and then you're getting the same things and now it's a lot more, and you're like, I always get these things. Why is it so much more? Inflation. Because the stores know this secret. When little things are changed, they go up by little, it adds up, and it just, yeah. So but use that to your advantage. At buying a couple extra, even if it's just 1 or 2 extra things at a time, set them aside in your food storage. Put the extras in a food storage room or under the bed or wherever you keep your food storage. Also, we talked about on Wednesday's podcast on with the meal planning. The meal planning, one of the ideas I gave was when you meal plan, do 10 meals a week. And even though there's only 7 days of the week, doing 10 meals a week, that gives you 3 extra meals. You can take the shelf-stable ingredients from those 3 extra meals and put it in your food storage. So these are just little by little ways that it's not this chunk lump sum of money you're setting aside. And I found that when things get paired up with other things that you're used to paying, you don't notice as much as something pulled out individually. For example, if you go to the ATM and you pull out $20, $40, it's like, that. You're like, oh, we took that out of the account. That's $20, that's $40. Even if you're setting it aside for something for earmarked. Versus if you're getting groceries anyway, and your groceries, you get $20 or $40 more in groceries, you don't notice. You don't notice because it's tied in with the groceries. And it's not as noticeable as $40 withdrawal from the ATM because you look at it and there's something psychological to it. You just look at it and you're just like, oh yeah, oh, that was groceries. Okay. Versus, why did we pull $40 out of the ATM? Well, where's the money? Where did it go? And there's something psychological about that. So doing it this way is great. Like I said, especially if you're low budget, low income, you're, self-employed, something like that, where you can't necessarily pull out and dedicate money. Or it just is little by little. You can do that. So when you need 2 cans of something, buy 4 or 5. And then make sure when you're putting them aside, next time you need them, you're not just pulling them out of the food storage, but you're going and getting them again and add more to them. You do want to rotate your food storage, but you also don't want to use it up before you have a chance to build it. So let's talk pros and cons about purchasing little by little. Some of the cons, it takes a lot longer to build up your food storage. So, when you're just adding a little bit of groceries in at a time, it can take a lot longer to build your food storage, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's okay. It gives you time to organize things as you build them. It gives you time to rotate. It gives you time to, just have everything put away. So understand that it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. Just be okay with that. The pros. It gives you time to make room, to stay organized. It's very budget friendly. Like I said, you're not going to notice a few extra cans or $20 extra out of your grocery budget. Okay, so we've talked about setting aside a percentage, setting aside a set amount each month, purchasing little by little. Now, lastly, let's talk about once a year bulk purchase. Now, this type of budgeting is somewhat of a gamble, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you may be in need of the food storage items before your scheduled purchase. And secondly, doing a large purchase like this all at once can be a hard pill to swallow as far as how much money you're spending all at once. So the longer you know exactly what you're purchasing and exactly how much it will cost, the easier it'll be. Have you ever had that where you're like, okay, we're going to, take something like, we're going to get new tires on the car. We're, in February, let's say in February, we're going to put 4 new tires on the car. And mentally like, yeah, it's going to be expensive, but we're going to do that in February. And then February comes along and it's like $800 or $1,200. And you're like, gulp. Oh, do we really need to do that? That's a lot of money. and when you're faced with that large amount, all of a sudden now you're like, oh, shoot, that's a lot of money. That's wow. Do we, and it makes you start to second guess. Do we really need it? Is this, even though you do, you need it. You want it. It's something you've planned on. It's just such a large purchase and a large amount of money all at once. It makes you second guess and you stop and think, okay, is this the best price we can get? Is this really, do we really? And sometimes you might reevaluate things. So it can be a hard pill to swallow like that when you're doing that. And the gamble as far as like when you need your food storage, if you are not to your, let's say you're going to buy $2,000 worth of food storage every year with your tax return, okay? And that's the only time of year you're going to get food storage, but you're going to spend $2,000 with your tax return. I mean, that's, well, tax returns have been kind of a joke the last few years, but if you're doing that, I mean, if it comes down to it, what happens if you decide that's what we're going to do, and it's August or September, and you lose your job or your spouse loses their job. And now you're like, well, shoot, we could really use some food storage about now. We could use that. But it's not time because you're waiting till the tax return time. So there is kind of a gamble doing it that way. But if you are planning this kind of budget for your food storage, do all your research beforehand. That is kind of a pro, that you have the time to do that. Find the best deals. Know when the sales are coming out. So Black Friday, usually in the spring, there's more sales. Check out if your store has case lot sales. A lot of the grocery stores in my area do case lot sales about every 3 to 4 months. And so if you're planning like, okay, well, they did a case lot sale this time, they're going to do it, and we can go buy tons of case lots. Or, Costco, you can always get stuff there. Costco's not always the best price though. And just like Walmart, it's not always the best price. Shop the sales, use coupons, all that, it'll add up. So do your research. You'll have the time, and then you'll be ready to go once you have the money. You'll know. So that's things like just kind of a heads up with other things. November is the best month of the year to buy appliances. If you're going to buy a new appliance, November is the best time of year. That's when you're going to get the best deals on appliances. May is the best deal for furniture. So there's certain things that go on better deals at certain times or months than others. If you want to buy a car, wait until the last 2 days of the month. That's when if you're going to buy a brand new car at a dealership, that's when the salesmen are trying to hit their sales goals, and they only have the last day or two to do it. They're going to negotiate a lower price with you on that day more than they will the first few days of the month, because they figure they got a whole month to make their commissions and their goals. So there's things like that understanding when things are going to be on sale and being smart about it, you can do that. So pros and cons of this. Some of the cons are the best sales may not be at the same time as when your scheduled once a year purchase is. A lot of items all at once. So if you're doing a big purchase, you're coming home with a haul, right? And a big haul takes a lot of room and a lot of time to organize. And it's just a lot of money. It's a lot of everything all at once. It's a lot of money to spend. It's a lot of products to add or things to add to your house. And also, you have to keep in mind the expiration dates. When you're buying them all at the same time, the chances are that they're all going to expire about roughly the same time. Depending on the product, some have a longer shelf life than others. But if you're buying that much, your expiration dates are going to be grouped as well, versus every month it's going to stagger them out. Some of the pros of doing it this way, it's drastic. It is a drastic result. You literally have instant food storage, right? And that's a good feeling to go from nothing to or just to see that big jump. Even if you already had some, all of a sudden you go from this much to this much, and it's drastic and it feels good, and you're like, this is cool, this is nice. It's all at once. So it is that instant gratification type thing there. So now we've talked about setting aside a percentage, setting a set amount each month, purchasing little by little, and a once a year bulk purchase. So really all you got to do at this point is choose and make a plan. You know the 4 different ways to budget for food storage. Choose which one fits your family best. You can always do more than one. You can do a combination. It just depends on your finances. If you're like, hey, we want to set aside a percentage, but we're also going to do this little by little as well. Or we're going to set aside a percentage, but we're also once a year with our tax return going to do a big purchase, or, something. You can do more than one. That's fine. Nobody's stopping you. Depending on which one you choose, it's a good idea to make a goal and be prepared. So for the percentage, choose where are you going to keep it? Are you going to keep it in the bank? Are you going to pull out cash and put it in a bank envelope? Number 2, for the set percent, what's a set monthly amount? Where are you going to keep it? Are you going to have a set monthly amount and spend it every month, like on an auto-shipment? Or are you going to set it aside? Number 3, the mental game plan on the purchasing little by little is pretty easy to come over that, and just making sure you have room. Like I said, that one's the most gradual and the easiest for most people to do, no matter what their financial situation is. It's easy to buy 1 or 2 cans extra. But number 4, the once a year bulk purchase, that's when it's a little bit of a mental battle, and that's where you have time to do your research, but just decide, how much are you going to spend? What are you going to spend it on? Where are the best deals? And if you have to go to 4 or 5 different places to get the best deals on certain things, that's okay, right? You want to do it. Also, make sure, how are you going to get it home? Is this something you need a truck or a big vehicle for? How much are you getting, like transportation as well, if you're buying that much all at once? So there's the 4 ways to budget for food storage. And I hope this was helpful for you just starting out. Again, we're going to cover different aspects of food storage and preparedness every Friday. So be sure to tune in and listen. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, need clarification, ideas, or you need a link or something I shared that you're like, I didn't catch that, shoot me an email, podcast@a2zformoms.com. And I'd be happy to help you. You can, like I said, you can listen to this podcast on all the major platforms, as well as on my YouTube channel, A2Z for Moms Like Me. And view my website. Go check out the Thrive Life stuff. If you're thinking about the monthly auto-shipment, that, like I said, I highly recommend that. And they have some good variety packs that you can get a little bit of a lot of different ingredients to give yourself a variety, kind of a foundation for your food storage, if you will. So again, our rundown: Motivational Monday, Teaching Tuesday, Whip It Wednesday, Parenting Perspectives on Thursday, Food Storage Friday, and Money Magic for Moms on Saturdays. So thanks for tuning in and for listening. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will talk to you tomorrow with Money Magic for Moms, and we'll see you later.